Hello and welcome to the Race to Speak Up podcast. As always, I'm your host, Devin Moore. Today's guest is Kimberly Griffin, a Virginia Beach resident whose childhood and adult years were settled in the Bronx, New York. She's a public health investigator, publisher, children's book author, motivational speaker, and founder of S.J.H Nonprofit Organization. Kimberly's a mother of 3 sons, a grandmother of 2, and married to her love, Warren A. Griffin. She's created a number of business entities to help contribute to the community. Bully Magazine is an inspirational publication that provides real-life stories, helping to motivate those that may have difficulty releasing their past experiences. I was actually also in the Bully Magazine too. The focus is to reach others that can relate to the stories shared in the magazine to comfort their emotions. Kimberly is a supporter of anti-bullying. Therefore, each child that reads her children's books will understand the different capabilities that many children are up against. It is her goal to have all her books read by young children across the world to help them understand that individuals with different abilities should be treated fairly. Welcome, Kimberly. How are you doing?
Fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So why don't we start with the Bully Magazine? You should tell us about the Bully Magazine.
Okay, so Bully Magazine was created in 2020, and we're on our 9th issue now. So Bully Magazine is now currently in the Books A Million stores, and Bully really is doing well. It's an inspirational magazine. It gives motivation to those that may have a troubled time releasing their painful past. A lot of people say, I have a story, I have a past, I don't like to talk about it. And sometimes when you hold on to those emotions, it does more damage than it does greater. So the magazine allows people to speak freely on what it is that they went through in their life and how it can be a motivation to someone else. So the name bully is not being harmed or intimidated. It's about how life bullied its way. You know, people can have cancer as a bully. People can have poverty as a bully. People can be bullied, you know, so that is what the magazine stands for. And a lot of people share different testimonies on how they overcame that bully in their life. So that's what Bully Magazine does.
It's very important, and thank you for sharing that. It's very important to have that. People should be able to freely speak upon their bullying experiences, their hate experiences. And it's just that, you know, you can put that in a magazine and encourage others to speak up about their own personal bullying.
Yes.
I know firsthand it's very important when it comes to that.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced prejudice or discrimination or bullying in your life?
Yes, I did. I've experienced bullying in my grade school, high school years. Because of my features, dark skin, full lips, you know, I was called a lot of different names. I was also bullied because I had stuttering problem when I was younger. And the kids would laugh at me. Sometimes I would stutter when it was time for me to read because I was so nervous. Mainly, I would do it a lot when I was around a lot of people and I needed to speak. And so it was really bad. And, you know, I was challenged with a lot of stuff in my life, and kids would make fun of me and talk about me, and it would make me feel bad, you know, and I went through a lot of things in my childhood and adult years too. So going into youth, you know, so it was a lot for me. So I have been bullied, yes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, especially at that young age, when you're still developing, that is the time where you should not be going through any negativity, to be honest. Like, you shouldn't be going through any of these harmful bullying experiences, verbal, physical, or cyber or social. And, you know, we're in the now. So cyberbullying has been a very much increased. Like, it's increased over time, which means that bullying can really happen at any point in time. Like, it doesn't just stay within your school day. It can go into your home life too. And so that's why it's so important that we can speak up about this issue and have things like the Bully Magazine to really help others and really encourage others to speak up and hear about each other's bullying experiences.
Yes, this is true. It's very important that people know what's going on inside and how you're feeling, expressing your emotions is very important then to hold on to them. Because at any given time, you can just, break loose, and you can't manage what you're feeling. And sometimes your heart needs to, get that off. So I think it's important and that's why I love the magazine so much, because when we do our interviews, we speak to people and we tell them, tell us a time in your life where it was so bad and you had to speak about it and how it made you feel. Start from your beginning, your middle, your end, and where you're at today. And people like, wow, I never really told anyone this. And they'll tell me their story, their deep story. So, and they're like, thank you. I always wanted to share that, but I didn't know how to do it because I thought people wouldn't accept me then. I thought people would judge me then. So yeah, those two words, judgment and acceptance, are the biggest words, and people fear that.
I agree.
Mhm.
Very important.
Yes.
So how has the pandemic affected the Bully magazine?
Well, that's when I started the Bully magazine. I was laid off from my job when the pandemic started, and I'm spiritual, so I listened to the word of God tell me this vision to create a magazine, and that's what I did. And from then, that's when Bully magazine started. So it helped me, during the pandemic, doing my losses. I lost my mom, my dad, and my son. So it helped me. It was therapeutic for me too, and just losing my job with no income. So it really helped me a lot.
And so I know you also mentioned that you suffered great losses, which included your son. Like,
Yes.
you lost your son to depression, which I'm truly sorry to hear that.
Yes.
And the importance of talking about mental health. Could you tell us about what happened and how you and your family cope?
Okay. Well, what happened with Joey was he was going through a depression. He lost his dad in 2014. And from then, he started spiraling down, of course, going through things in his life as well. And then he started medicating himself with recreational drugs. He couldn't get a handle on it, and it got out of hand. And so when it got out of hand, he started spiraling out of control. He got in trouble with the law. And then coming home with those things on his record, he couldn't get the jobs that he used to do because he was into automotive. So they wouldn't hire him because of his license, because of his background now. So it got him a little bit depressed. So he was going to a treatment program. From that treatment program, I guess it wasn't helping him as much, and things were still spiraling out of control. And he went and did, what he felt. He felt like he wasn't important. I read his records from when I went and got them, the mental health institution he was in. And it read that he felt like he was ashamed of himself. He was ashamed of what he'd done. He's like, my mom didn't raise me this way. And he was like, it's no use for me being here. But I guess they didn't take it serious. And I didn't know this until I read it. And then on his birthday, he overdosed himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah. On his 27th birthday, he overdosed himself. So, yeah. So that's how that was. And to cope with that, it was very hard. And there's days that I have good days. There's days that I have bad days. But in the end, I keep moving because I know I have a purpose and I know I have a mission to accomplish, and honoring his name and supporting what it was that happened to him. I didn't think I needed to speak about it. I thought people would judge me too as a mom, but I thought it was the important thing to do. And God told me, you need to speak. You need to tell people what happened because you can save someone else that may be going through it. And I've been doing it. And a lot of people have been giving me, so many reviews, so much inspiration I've been giving people and just motivating them to speak up more about whatever it is they're going through and not hold on to it like Joey did. And so that's how I share that story.
And then you have the S.J.H organization in order to really honor your son. Do you want to talk a bit more about it?
So Support Joey's Heart is in honor of my son. It's a nonprofit organization where we did focus on the mental health side. I was doing group sessions and I would do them online. I would talk with people, speak with them, pray with them. And sometimes we would, just talk about, because I was in mental health. I was a mental health professional, QMHP. And so because I was laid off, I figured I'd implement that inside. But because of COVID, a lot of people don't really trust when you're behind. They want to see face to face. So I couldn't really do nothing because I didn't have the space. So I kind of transitioned into recognition once things start opening up. I give recognition to those that are not thought about in a position of, like, we did truck drivers. We gave recognition to truck drivers. We gave them a lot of gift bags or a lot of little things that could be supportive to them because we need our truck drivers. Without truck drivers, we can't get the supplies we need. So we went and traveled to different states and gave them all the goodie bags with a lot of little stuff in their hand sanitizers. We gave them snacks. We gave them, what else did we give them? We gave them brushes, anything that they could use while they're on the road. And they were very happy for it. And so then we also went to a senior facility for Christmas and we gave them gifts. A lot of seniors live alone. I lost my mother. She passed away in the house alone. So I went to the same facility that she left from and went and gave, my support to them to give them a token of appreciation, that we appreciate you and all the work you've done through the years. And they were so happy. And so right now, this next campaign that I'm doing, I'm going to be doing something for the landscapers. Nobody thinks about landscapers and their recognition, but they make sure everything looks pretty. So I want to give them something, for all the hard work they do in the sun, to make everything look nice and green and pretty. So I'm going to give some gift cards to IHOP, so they're going to go have some breakfast on Support Joey's Heart.
Oh, I love that. You're really right, because people really don't look at like landscapers. They don't look at these people. They just kind of get the job done and that's it. People don't recognize it. I get what you're saying. And so
that's right.
That makes me happy that you're even doing that.
Yeah, because people just don't think about them. They work so hard, they're here every day, and you don't know what's going on in their mind. And then you hear about all these things, and people's suicide is on the rise. It's definitely on the rise. And so I think it's very important that we, support them and just let them know that we're thinking of them, So that's what we do.
And so speaking of children, I know you're a children's book author and you have a variety of different children's books. Why don't you talk about some of them?
All right, so I have 7 children's books that I wrote about. All my children's books are to teach children about social skills, so they understand that kids with different abilities matter too. And so each one of my books teaches them about courage, about love, about patience, about honor and respecting, and about not fearing, not being fearful. And so I did one book called Joey's Boots. It's about my grandson, a little boy who finds an atom. Most kids love adamant objects. My grandson loved cowboy boots. And so I wrote a story about cowboy boots and how he was introduced to them and how that adamant object, the boots, taught him not to be fearful of the dark. And then the second book is called My Beautiful Lips. And it's about my granddaughter and my son. My son has an eye disability where he can't see out of one. So everything he can't see, she helps see for him. So she's like his assistant, and everything that he can't do, she makes sure she's his aide. And then I also did a book about my youngest son. He had Tourette syndrome, so it's called Tick No More. And it's a motivational book that tells everything that he done from the time of ticking, and he was being bullied too because of that, and how he accomplished so much all the way up until him going into the Air Force and, working, being Airman of the Year, and all the good things to motivate a child. And then I also did one called Matthew and Me about a little boy who's autistic and how to build patience with autistic children, how they can teach you things that you may not expect they could. So that's what Matthew and Me is about, a little girl named Lindsay. She meets him in the park and they become good friends. And then I did another book called Kyla's History Lesson about a little girl who wants to be an African-American leader. And then I also did a book called My Beautiful Lips. My Beautiful Lips is about a little girl in Africa who's in an orphanage and she has a cleft lip. And she had dreams of having beautiful lips so she could become a model. And that happens by her praying and it all comes true. And then she wants to be a successful model and she gets reunited with her sisters because they were separated because the parents passed away. So it's a cute little story. And then the last one is about me. It's called Kim's First Day of School. And I talk about all the things that children should know and what parents should expect on the first day of school. And those are my books.
Those are some really good books. What are they on? What are they available on?
They're on Amazon.com. You can just type in Kimberly Griffin and all my books, everything will come up.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, I definitely need to look into that because those are some really good books. Yeah. I love children's books because just not only hearing other people's stories, but the messages within them. It's so important.
That is. It's very important.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things we're saying is by sharing our story, we're helping others. And children's books, children in school needs these type of books because a lot of the books that they're having in school right now are they're good, but then oftentimes they're either by one type of like looking like they're either geared more so towards like white young male children. So
Mhm,
like we
mhm.
need kind of diversity in it and we need
Yes,
types of it. You know,
absolutely.
we need people with disability children's books about that. We need
Yes,
people with, cleft lip or
yes,
things like
yes,
that. And I know you
yes,
understand that, which is why I'm so happy to hear about that. And that's
yes.
everyone should really look into that.
Yeah, yeah, great. And so My Beautiful Lips was just picked up with the owner of Operation Smile that does the surgery for the cleft lip. So yeah, I met with him, and the book is going to go to Africa, and then it's going to be in CHKD. So I was really happy about that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was really
Cool.
happy about that. So yeah, so he was very happy about the story, and he was like he wants it to touch. That was my dream, for it to just touch a child who may be going through that. And then just so happens I met with him, and we connected, and it was just great. And it just happened. Me and my husband just met with him. We went to Operations. Great place to go for a tour. Any kid should go to Operation Smiles. It is a great place for children to just explore. You will learn a lot from it. It's really nice. Mhm.
And also, just kind of wanted to bring this up again because I know that we were talking about mental health. So you were or you are currently a public health investigator.
No, I'm a public health investigator now, but I was in mental health, a qualified mental health professional, where I worked with those that suffered with mental health disparities, schizophrenia, depression, bipolar, PTSD, all of those that had those trauma effects that result in mental health. I worked with a lot of them for like almost 2 years, and then I got laid off. But it was in my spirit that I always wanted to do it, because they're just regular people, but they just have that condition, and people look at them different, but you just don't know when it could be you. You know what I mean? And I think God was just preparing me, because look what happened with my son. He was depressed. I mean, I suffered depression too, twice, in different situations, but it can be really, really bad. Some people just can't manage it. You need the right support system around you to let people know that it happens to you, it happens to me, it happens to us all. We all have a bad day. We all don't have a good day. We all are judged. We all are not accepted, but you have to keep moving. Just got to know when to remove yourself out of that circle and out of that place. And so that's what I learned to do.
Were there like any at all signs that your son was um potentially thinking about, committing or unaliving himself? Were there
Well,
any?
now that I know, when the day of his service, his stepson said he knew something was wrong with Joe, because he was in the room in the dark for 4 days, and he didn't want no one to go in the room. And that's a sign, isolation. And so I saw him, but I didn't know he was in the room. I went over there to see him. When I saw how he came out, he just didn't look like himself. And I kept asking him what was wrong. He would always say, "No, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. Nothing's wrong. I'm good." He was a humble person. So you would never think, he was just quiet, humble. And so, it's just happened. I don't, I just try to not think too much into it, but because, I know he's at peace now. I know he's very much at peace. So yeah, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. I'm here to fight his battles now through his nonprofit to show honor to him.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm very happy to just know and understand that you really are helping others through um S.J.H and through the Bully magazine and through like all these different things that you're doing through being a mentor.
Yes, yes.
Very, as we're saying, it's very important and this conversation needs to be talked about. And you're doing just that. You're helping.
Thank you so much. I
Yes.
also have a bio book I wrote too, what my husband wrote. It's called Releasing Me. And that book talks about everything that I hid, and I let out. I never told a lot of people about my stuttering and the things I went through in school and the things that teachers told me. I had one third grade teacher tell me that I'd never be nothing, and that stayed with me. That never goes away. She told me, "You'll never be nothing because you can't read well. You'll never be able to get anywhere in life because your parents don't care. My parents drank a lot when I was younger, and she would say these things, cruel things to me. So I thought about that a lot, but it made me become better. I found a way to get myself out of that. And that's what I try to push people to do with anything they're going through in their life. You find a way to get out of it, and you can do it no matter what you're going through.
Yeah. You
So,
proved that teacher wrong, because
yeah, I sure did.
why would you? Because why
I
would
sure
you
did.
someone really like these people need to think about it. Like when they're about to say, first stop, take a step back,
That's
and
right.
really think about what you're about to say to this child. And like you're saying, these things really do stick with you. These things do really stick with you. And so, it's really like when I see a young child, or when I hear a young child's story of being bullied or going through anything that negatively impacts your mental health, to be quite honest, it's always like this factor that I immediately think of is that it can go straight into your adulthood.
It
And
sure
that's
can.
not at all
And
good.
that's right.
Because
That's what happened.
exactly. And then like you have this other perspective of things too that's added on to your adulthood, and that's trauma.
Yes.
There's so many different aspects when it comes to it. But
Yes.
at least you're able to really help others. You understand people, you know how to help others, and you recognize those that are lesser thought about, like the land
Yes.
workers, or like all these different other people.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What's been the most rewarding part of your journey?
Getting people to tell me thank you. Thank you, Miss Kim, for what you've done. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to be in your magazine and tell my story. Just, like right now I have my contributing authors that are in the magazine, and they're so helpful to me by supporting the magazine, by putting articles in that are motivation to our readers, but they're so happy for it. And that makes me feel good, to feel from when I was so small that you weren't accepted, and to know that you're doing so much for people. That just makes me feel good, so that's the rewarding part, to get the thank you, and the gratitude is everything. So yeah.
What are your hopes and dreams moving forward with your work?
My hopes and dreams are of course, to have my building for Support Joey's Heart. I have a dream to have it, a blueprint of it, and also to have Bully Magazine all over the place in different stores in different areas. And my children's books, I would just want them to be read by children and just understand the effects of what other kids may be going through too. And so that is my dream.
Well, thank you again for joining me and sharing your
You're welcome.
sharing how you raised to speak up. This is I really am just very I was excited to come and speak to you today to really hear
Okay.
your story. So
Okay.
thank you again.
You're welcome. It was good talking with you.
Would you like to share your social media and your website?
Yes. So my social media is Support Joey's Heart on Facebook, and then it's Bully Magazine 2020 on Facebook and IG. And then the website for Support Joey's Heart is supportjoeysheart.org. And then Bully Motivational Magazine 2020.com. And those are the main social sites that I'm on.
All right, awesome. And thank you everyone who's listening. I hope to see you guys at future Race to Speak Up podcast. If you have any questions about the Race to Speak Up podcast, feel free to contact me at racetospeakup@gmail.com. Make sure to follow at Race to Speak Up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for updates on future podcasts. Make sure to go to my website, www.racetospeakup.com, and check out all things Race to Speak Up, and join the Humanity Rising movement. Humanity Rising offers scholarships for students making a difference in the world through service. Visit www.humanityrising.org for more information. And remember to ask yourself this question: how do you race to speak up?